Is that my imagination? Or are we seeing a lot of black and white murder in the last couple weeks / months? Must be my imagination.
Tonight, the Broken Arrow community is coming together after a senseless loss of one of their own. Police say 16-year-old Deontay Green was on a crime spree when he shot and killed father of 3 and geography teacher Shane Anderson, you see here. Fox 23's Katie Higgins is live after talking to Anderson's colleagues. Katie.
Yeah, I went up to Anderson's classroom and he had Star Wars trinkets and Minions posters all over his walls. But today his students were the ones who went into his classroom and posted notes of affection on his walls. Do or do not. There is no try. The famous quote sits on Mr. Anderson's desk in his classroom at Oneida Ridge Middle School.
He was well loved by his students.
Anderson died living out that mantra when an armed teen confronted Anderson and his family outside their South Tulsa home. Police say Anderson struggled with the gunman to protect his family. Police say Deontay Green was on a destructive crime spree when he shot and killed Anderson in front of his family.
I was shocked. Wouldn't have never suspected it.
His colleagues shocked to hear of his senseless passing.
I feel like it's really important to hold it together so that the staff can be strong, for the kids to be strong.
His students showed their support from note after note. We love you, fly high, and calling him Mr. Geodude.
Had great passion for his subject area, and his kids were well aware of that.
Anderson leaves those 150 students behind, but more than that, he leaves his 2 daughters and a son without a father, his wife without her partner. A GoFundMe for the family has been created, already raising $6,000.
I think we just have to. It's just the way it is. No one wishes this on anyone else, but we are BA, and we are a tight-knit, the large school district and community. We band together.
It's amazing how easily they dismissed the fella who killed that teacher. Well, what was he doing? Oh, he was on a crime spree. They made it sound like he was like on his way to Disneyland or something. Oh, he was on a crime spree. Oh, everybody knows what that means. Did he have a record? Is this the first time he ever did this? Did he do it a few weeks ago, a few months ago? Should he be in jail right now? For things he already did, but for things they're letting people go for now. Lots of questions. This TV station's had no interest in answering them whatsoever. Why don't we head down to, head up to Rochester, Minnesota. This is a weird story. So if you've ever been to Minnesota, you find out pretty quickly, usually firsthand, about what Minnesota nice means. I wrote a book a few years ago about hitchhiking through the country. I spent 4 months out there, spent a lot of time in Minnesota, all on the side roads. The book's called Redwood to Deadwood, for any of you diehards who want to read it. But when you get to Minnesota, you know, people are picking you up, they're taking you to lunch. Remember one guy picked me up, nice guy. He said, come on, let's go get some lunch. We went to a real nice place. When the lunch was over, he paid for lunch with a check. And so that's how people are rolling in Minnesota. They're very nice to each other. I don't know about the Twin Cities. I wouldn't give a nickel apiece for the Twin Cities. Too much black crime, violence, mayhem, and denial, deceit, and delusion there. But outside of the Twin Cities, I mean, it's not something people really talk about. It's just something that's part of their lives. So now we get a case in a trailer park. Little old black lady is having some kind of medical issue. Her next door neighbor hears about it. He comes over to help. The next day, well, wait till you see the incredible thing that happened after that.
First, we're continuing to learn more about the motive in a Rochester trailer park murder. On Friday, we told you about the 3 people who are in custody for their alleged involvement in Brandon Arndt's death. Tonight, KIMT News 3's Kaylin Thompson joins us live in our Rochester studio after speaking with police earlier today. Kaylin, what did they have to say?
Amy, police tell me it was a taxing investigation and timely, given the fact they didn't have suspects in custody until about 2.5 weeks after Brandon Arndt's death. Let me take you back to what happened leading up to the homicide. When it comes to a murder investigation, police always try to find a motive.
You have to wonder what someone did that caused another to take their life, or what was assumed that they did.
Authorities are revealing that days prior to his death, Brandon Arndt reportedly helped an elderly neighbor. Police say when the woman suffered a life-threatening medical emergency the next day, her family members thought Arndt had something to do with it. Surveillance video helped investigators piece together the timeline that led them to these 3 individuals, who are all grandchildren of the elderly woman. Based on their statements, police believe Darian Kleinworth Woods drove the car. Keila Parsons was present and aware of what was happening, and Malcolm Woods was the one who fired the deadly shot that killed Brandon Arndt.
So where are people getting the idea that white people just are at random going to their black next door neighbors and somehow sabotaging their medicine, somehow doing things to put them in the hospital? Where are black people getting the idea that somehow there's such a thing as white on black crime and hostility? I mean, where do you get that idea except every day in CNN, MSNBC, D.L. Hughley, Oprah, lots and lots of places are passing this fairy tale around that's part of the greatest hoax of our generation, the hoax of black victimization. So these 3 young guns decide that, oh yeah, they got this figured out they got it figured out right away. The white guy did something, we have to go kill him for that. That's Minnesota. However nice the people in Minnesota are, there is one rule in Minnesota media among reporters and public officials. You must not make those black kids angry.